Hi, my name is Dean McKinnon and I support Morton.
The Joys.
My name's Finlay Jack and I'm a Queen of the South fan.
My name's Freddie Cocker and I support Huddersfield Town.
My name's Johnny Smith. I'm 44, nearly 45. I'm from Kirriemuir in Angus. Dundee United supporter, associated with Forfar Athletic as well, and I am on the committee at Kirriemuir Thistle Junior Football Club.
I'm Campbell Finlayson and I'm a Dundee United fan.
So my name's Andrew Barnsley and I support Greenock Morton.
My name is Ryan Fulton and my team is Rangers Football Club.
Right, okay, Alan Coyle, Greenock Morton supporter.
So my name's Liam Innes and I support Livingston.
I'm Ross Mackay and I'm a Morton fan.
I'm Blair McInally. I'm 19 years of age and I'm a Partick Thistle fan, unfortunately.
My name's Colin McIlveen and I'm a lifelong Ayr United fan.
I'm Callum Renfrew and I'm a Greenock Morton fan.
No problem. My name is Andy Kerr and I'm a Kilmarnock fan.
My name's Mark Weir. I support Clyde.
A wee bit of season before, but more or less, 2 seasons ago, I started taking my youngest. So the routine was different, and it was all more that I was excited about getting him involved. He had a wee routine that he liked as well, and it basically involved, we'd get sweets at the shop and all that first of all. He'd have that, we'd get in. Would be in. I was in earlier than I've ever been in because we had to go and see Cappy and we had to see the warm up and stuff like that. And always stand with the same folk. I mean, the pals that I stand with, we stand down at the front of the cowshed, and we stand down there because our kids come with us and the kids love running about. And my kind of focus has been, as much as anything, try to get my wee boy was really into football. Went to Paddy McLeod's classes and all the rest of it. Really loved his football. And since this has happened, I try to sit him down to watch football on a laptop or on the telly, and he can't do it.
Yeah, it's been, I would say, very, very difficult. From a personal point of view, I think you just take for granted that you'll go and see a game if not every week, every other week. And it's just one of these things that you always just got used to. It was always there. And it's only now that you're not getting to these matches and even just watching the ones on the telly and listening to on the radio, and you just think, it's just unbelievable. My last match was, I think, the 15th of March, about the 15th of March last year. Kirrie Thistle at home to Forfar West End, local derby. Very strange. Kind of last year was strange anyway. I burst my knees in February last year pretty badly. So I wasn't really able to do much. And that was actually the first match I'd been to in a couple of months. So, but no, never in a million years did I think that was the last game I was going to go and see live.
It must have been 4-0 to Morton was the last home game we played. So I don't think fans have fond memories from Palmerston, but Nicky Cadden just
destroyed us.
Destroyed us. Yeah, that was the last one. Yeah, a long time. It's bizarre. I think the players do really well to not treat it as a friendly almost. Like it must be tough playing in front of nobody. You got a few press and that's it. And it does the first few games, especially the Betfred Cup. Our first game was at Capel actually. It just had the pre-season feel to it. It didn't feel like a game.
So quiet, wasn't it? Like even the penalties, you could hear the cars go past.
You can hear like the players shouting, and it's not the same. I think it's tougher as well now when your team's in a good run of form and the fans can't be in the stadium to watch it. It was all right at the start of the year when we were rubbish, and you think, well, we wouldn't have had any fans anyway. But when you're on a good run, your heart does go out to them a little bit because you do want to be there and see it.
Yeah, very much so. I think there's a lot of people who really rely on football for, their social group revolves around going to football, attending football, talking about football. I know mine certainly does. It's been a massive adjustment to, standing in the cowshed with your pals every week and having a few pints in the Norseman. And I think, away games as well. I think away games are a really big part of my social life anyway. I know it's the same for my pals and probably quite a lot of fans up and down the country. I think there's a uniqueness to the social interactions and almost the community feel when it is a kind of smaller provincial club that you support, where, you're maybe going to these far-flung places. You're going to Peterhead on a Tuesday night and there's only 80 of you there, but you kind of know 70-75% of them. It's when you take that away, it leaves, as you said, a massive hole that I think a lot of people have really struggled to deal with and struggled to fill.
As it's been a long season for everyone, I think, as well, because like the fans aren't there. You have to sit at home. I think my last game was the Leverkusen game in the Europa League. So, and that was like the atmosphere. You just miss the atmosphere because it's just not the same sitting in the house, even listening to the crowd noise on the telly. I don't like it. It just doesn't. I feel like it's better way off, No, I know. It's just, you just want to be there, and or you want to be in the pub watching it with like all the other fans, just be able to celebrate it with, someone else rather than having to sit in the house, yourself or on like a Zoom call or something like that with your pals. It's not right, it's just you want to be there with everyone else interacting, and then when it comes you want to actually celebrate with everyone else instead of having to celebrate in the house, because it's not going to be the same,
It's been an absolute nightmare. I mean, I've been 50 years following Ayr United, bar a few breaks in between, when I kind of fell out of love with football a couple of times over my life. But for the last, I would say 20 years now, I've never missed a season. And this has just been horrendous, just to not be able to see them. And on a Saturday, if I go out in the car, I have to drive past the stadium and I know they're there. I know they're there, but I can't get in.
It's a wall, isn't it? Like, it's a metaphorical wall. Like,
It's massive.
It's horrible, isn't it? Like, people don't realise how much they rely on a Saturday for going and seeing their team until something like this happens, don't they? Not?
The night we were on BBC when we played Hearts, I was gutted every time the camera panned along the North Terrace because I could see where I stand in the same place every Saturday, and I could see where I should have been that night, and it just ruined it for me. Even watching them on the TV, it's not the same.
Yeah, no, so from the way that you spoke in there, you're guessing you stood in the same spot for the majority of your time supporting the club.
Near enough, the whole time I've supported them. As a youngster, I was always behind the goals. But as you get older and we went round to near enough the halfway line, where the segregation fence is. I'm like maybe about 20 yards in for there. There's me and a few of my mates. We stand there every single Saturday, and God help anybody that takes my place.
Hard for everyone, I guess, but it's that way that football isn't just the kind of 90 minutes. It's the whole kind of match day experience, seeing all your pals and all that. And I think that's the kind of part that I'm struggling with most. Just that kind of social aspect. It's good having a WhatsApp chat and seeing everyone on Twitter, but actually, seeing them in the pub before and after the game, having that conversation in person, that's what I'm missing most. I started going with my granda when I was a wee boy. I was in the main stand up the back, but then you know how it goes, kind of get your own interest in knowing pals and that. So that's when I made the switch over to the cowshed, and it has always been the same place since. Yeah.
And I'm guessing you'll be missing that one spot on a Saturday because it's like you said, it's the same people, it's the same routine. It becomes awfully tribal, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Like even see even the people like around you that give out nonsense shouts and that, usually it's annoying you during the game. Even missing that, it's a weird one.
No, it is, and I mean, you can't misbehave in your own living room, can you? Like,
trust me, I've tried, but it's not the same.
No, when obviously I think it was the Dundee United game got postponed the week later. Me and my dad, that's who I go to the games with, kind of thought, well, it would be like that to the end of the season, and then hopefully that the season that's ongoing just now would get back into the grounds and stuff. But obviously it's not went that way, and it's been a huge miss.
So you go to the games with your dad then? Is that is that your routine then? So you and your dad will go to the game most weeks?
Yeah, home and away. Well, mostly just the home games the last year or two, but before that, when I was younger as well, home and away every week. So it's been a bit of a change to the system.
That's a big miss, isn't it? Like, just when Saturday comes, it's a big routine. It's a big day out essentially, isn't it?
Aye, definitely. You know, you kind of you don't speak to the same people as often as well. I think at football you get to see your pals more often, and there's different people you'd meet. And obviously you've not got to see them or anyone else really. You're right, it's a big change.
Range, I mean, obviously it'd been a tough few years prior to that, since we've come down and we've had numerous managers and hundreds of players that haven't been good enough simply, and then to get to a season where eventually we've ran away with it, and then it's obviously been curtailed quite early and we've not been able to get in. As you say, to see them actually pick up the trophy was quite not tough as such. I think most of us were just glad to get out, but it was kind of a wee bit disappointing that you couldn't see it. We've got back to the Premiership obviously, and then you think maybe a few months, but here we are a year later and still having to watch us on these streams. So it's good that we're back, and I think that's just the main thing for most fans. But there is that slight tinge of disappointment that we obviously can't get in to see them.
And it's just so weird, isn't it? Watching for the house. Like I've spoken to quite a few people this morning, and it's been a wide mixture of people north and south of the border. And we had the 7-month break where we just had nothing, and we didn't know whether clubs were going to be sound or not, didn't we?
Yeah, it's kind of been, especially United, we've had a lot of obviously been in the news with the script with Hearts and Partick this and what have you, supposedly for them all coming down and us and Wraith potentially not going up. So it's kind of been, there was a lot of involvement with United in the news, but even that seems so long ago now. It's just the time has went in so quick. I know obviously I'm thinking lockdown maybe going to drag in, but it's been the opposite to me. I think we've obviously got right through it now, and just you're still no United. We're just glad to be able to watch our side. I know obviously lower league teams are now coming back, but them having missed out for the last couple of months, it'll be tough on them as well. So it's just good to have football, but it's definitely not the same.
I'll tell you one thing, I had the decision to work and go to that game, and I finished work at 7 o'clock. Game was at 7:45, and I was too tired just to work, and I went, I'm just going to go home.
I was standing with Manpreet in that game. And
I decided just to go home, and people talk about regrets. That's probably one of my biggest regrets, because Graham went and scored a last minute equaliser, didn't he? My granda, he stayed in Erskine, I stayed in Renfrew. So, and Thistle's obviously into Glasgow. So he would drive in to my house. My dad would put on like a fry up and that. The football would be on at about 12 o'clock. My granda would come, get a fry up, get breakfast with us, a pre-match fry up and stuff, chill, have a coffee, get a catch up at the weekend, and then we would maybe set off about 2 o'clock, and then we would go to the game. Me and my wee granda, he's 87 years of age now, so time's kind of ticking on for us to get to games, make some more memories. But got up the Jackie Husband stand, the south stand, you might know the hill. Take about 10 minutes getting up that with him. Used to be him holding my hand and taking me up it. Now it's me taking his hand and taking him up it. But honestly, I wouldn't change it for the world. Take him up there, get a programme. You see the same people selling the programmes, get up that hill. Same guy, Ian, selling the 50-50. You go up that hill, you go in, scan your season ticket, and then we go in and see there's a guy called Sel. He's been going for ages. So there's the three of us, and then you'll always see the same people sitting around you. And it's just that feeling of nice to see you, I've not seen you, how you been? It's not the football, it's really, people say, aye, the football, but that's all push. We don't really go for the football. It's a social aspect of it. It's majorly missed. And I keep saying that to my grand. I can't wait just to do that in a sunny day in Glasgow again. Even the drive going over the Kingston Bridge and seeing the water.
If you had said to me a year ago right now, oh, you're not going to go to the football for a year after this game, you'd have laughed it off. You would have thought nothing of it and thought, well, give it a few weeks, maybe a few months, and we'll be back after the summer, no problem. And it just that game particularly felt like a big anticlimax given what happened afterwards. At the time, it was just the sting of defeat and, oh well, we'll go again next weekend if we're allowed to, because we all knew something was happening, but we didn't know just how far-reaching the consequences of that were going to be.
Definitely, especially the part-time teams. Luckily, obviously, we've stayed full-time, despite the talk of some people want to go part-time. But I think that's probably the issue with League One and League Two resuming at the minute. These guys have got to balance other jobs and stuff as well, and the clubs need to stay afloat. So it'll be really interesting to see what the plan is to get fans back in. Obviously England had some in last season for a wee bit, but hopefully we get them in as soon as possible.
I think I kind of miss it a lot. I mean, it makes you appreciate kind of a lot when you do go, and it makes it feel a lot better because you are missing it. You don't appreciate it as much when you're going every week, but in times like this when it's taken away from you, and even so much as your routine on a match day, you get up and you do the same stuff and you're looking forward to it. You start to miss those kind of wee things and the wee just the routine really of it. So I think it has quite an effect on, I'd say, mental health as well, on a lot of people, on, like, do you know what I mean? And you don't realise it, as I said, until it's whipped away from you, and you're kind of because it's a staple in the book. Like, that's what you do every weekend. So it's the kind of effect it's had as a strange one, but it's also kind of a strange kind of life that everybody's living now. So it's difficult. You know what I mean? You're just kind of hoping that you're going to be back soon, and you're kind of praying for a date to come.
The guys that I go with, I mean, we've all got season tickets sort of quite close to each other, and we've actually got myself and my dad have got plaques on our seat, their name and seat number and stuff, because we've been in those seats for probably about 15 years now, and yeah, I mean, as much as the old boys behind me sort of annoy me with their bizarre shouts to the referee and linesmen and stuff, it is those sort of wee things that you start missing. By the social aspect of things, it's just, it's not the same. I think at the start of the season we started going on things like Zoom and FaceTime and stuff and watching the games together, but then the game was at different points for different people. And we tried to replicate it, but it just wasn't the same. The cup final, it's one of those things that we've been crying out for a cup run since we won it in 2004. And it's always been, Livingston have always sort of notoriously been a pretty rubbish cup team over the past sort of 10, 15 years. So not being there, I mean, as you said, like even some of the players have never played in front of a crowd at Livingston, but I mean, the performance in the cup final the other day, you could just tell it was so flat. I mean, St Johnstone looked up for it, but Livingston, I mean, the whole, we spoke to a couple of the cup winning team on our podcast, and they were saying that even though Hampden was full of Hibs fans the year we won it, it was, it was still a full Hampden Park. Like, it didn't matter if they couldn't hear any Livingston supporters and all they could hear was Sunshine on Leith on repeat. It was, the fact that the stadium was full, it felt like a cup final. This cup run, it's been amazing, like unbelievable. And as you said, we never have thought that we would get there, particularly at the start of the season. But nah, I think that's sort of been that was the most difficult part. I mean, waking up on Sunday, and you're excited. You've still got that cup final feeling. You've got butterflies in your stomach, but then you're like, oh, we're not actually going anywhere. We can't meet anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, it's obviously quite sad, isn't it? Not being able to get to the games. Having to watch your team play on your phone. It's just not that big time. It just feels a bit odd having to watch your team on the phone on their telly.
The Clyde support are quite close to the team, aren't they? Like, when I say close to the team, I mean not in like physical sense, but
what do they? Sure.
Like,
but
I mean, like, you kind of knew the team on a personal level. You felt close to them. It felt as if there was a connection there. So that's kind of been lost in the last year, hasn't it?
There's a huge connection with the Clyde team and the players. Like, even Daniel Aaron used to come to before the games kicked off to the area lounge just to have a wee conversation with the fans and let them know what's going on behind the scenes. It was really, really almost a family. So it was.
You know, we had things like our manager was on furlough until the 24th of August. And by that time, Dunfermline had the whole squad together and stuff, and Morton were signing boys, and we had no players with two boys signed, I think. I said it to another boy a couple of weeks ago. I think it's remarkable that no club's gone under. Like in the 42, I think it's remarkable. Really, really amazing, especially your full-time clubs, your smaller full-time clubs.
Like Queen's Morton, especially.
Exactly, Queen's Morton, Ayers, things like that. And then the lower league clubs, the League Two clubs. I just, you know, I don't know how every club survived, because there's no income. We're losing, I don't know how much money we're losing, but I'd imagine we're losing money based on the fact that a ticket's 18 quid normally, but to buy a stream's a tenner, so it's 8 quid you're losing per ticket almost. And most clubs will be the same. But yeah, I think bar maybe one or two, like they're financially coping, but it's temporary. I don't think they could cope like this for another year. But we said that a year ago, so you never know.
Aye, definitely. Definitely. She loved it. Like, I've got wee cousins that will go as well that she'll sit with down at the front of the cowshed, so that me and my dad can stand in the halfway back up. And but aye, it's like my granda went to the games, my dad went, still obviously goes. It's a whole family thing, I think. And that's what I think a lot of people will be missing out on, is spending time with not just their own family, but as I said earlier, like the people that they're dead close to just through football. There's so many people like that you'll not be seeing at the minute.
Michael Moffat scored his 100th goal to an empty stadium.
And that's heartbreaking, isn't it? Because he's been such a great servant to the club.
He's made his 300th appearance for here, and in an empty stadium. Now, we were all relishing the day when he scored his 100th goal. We were praying it was at Somerset so we could see it, and it was at Somerset, but we only got to watch it on a YouTube video.
It's a full Saturday, like you're for like 10 in the morning, 9 in the morning, right through to your 6:30, 7 at night, and then you were able to go out at night. So it's literally a full Saturday that's your routine's been shifted, and I do not like watching it for the telly. It's no me. It's no. I'm a people person. I like to be around the people and experience everything kind of firsthand. So I'm probably shocked me more than a lot of other people, but as I said, I can't really complain because it's not just me that's in the situation, and I know there's a lot of people that are going to be missing it exactly just like me.
100%. As I said, it's almost like losing a limb. You don't get you lose a club. In reality, not having that wee interaction, even though it's only once a week, but you look forward to it. You work your whole week to get to the game, and then to see the people who you see week in, week out, and if you don't see them, well, it gets you down. You know what I mean?
No, it definitely. And I mean, I think maybe some people didn't realise how much their week revolves around their club and how much their club revolves around them building up to a Saturday.
Well, we used to plan months in ahead, literally months in ahead for away games, thinking, well, I'll make sure I'll work this Saturday, put it in. Or if it's a game on a Tuesday, or I can't work this late night on a Tuesday, I need to go up to Peterhead, and we'd go. You know what I mean? it means that much to us.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. If you think about any kind of difficulties that you have in your life, generally, chances are you'll look back on it at some point in the future and you'll go, oh, remember that was daft, wasn't it? Remember we all had to wear these daft masks, or your dad had a stupid one, didn't he? And that'll be what gets us through, I think.
Definitely. I mean, going forward, like just in an ideal scenario, we can get back for the first day of next season, and it's a full house, hopefully, and you're in the same spot that you've stood for X amount of years with your pals all around you and stuff like that. How do you think you're going to feel at that? Is that going to be a bit surreal, or are you going to think that we're back to normality, or what?
I think it will take a good few weeks, maybe even months, before it gets back to the feeling of normality again. I think that I know that they say absence makes the heart grow fonder. I believe that is very true. If you think about it, it might be a bit surreal when you've got 4, 5, 6 of your pals all together round a table at a pub with a pint before the game, or even all sitting together at the game without any restrictions on what you can do, where you can go, when you have to leave even. I think that it will be really, really good, but it will take a while before it becomes normal again. I think people are just getting used to what we're in just now, and it will take them a wee while to get used to going back again.
I think we'll get. I think we'll actually increase our crowds. I think it's going to be. It's hard to put into words. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be one of the best days. Just seeing, kind of, even folk you don't talk to, but just seeing regular faces in at Palmerston, and even if I'm still working for the club in the press or in the gantry, whatever, it's just going to be an experience. Having everyone back, and yeah, I just hope the players put in a bit of a show for them. I think that goes for every club. I hope every club's first home game back is a good win for them, because the fans want to see it and they deserve it. It's been really tough for everyone. There's been a few, I think Inverness had a few fans in, County have had a few, Aberdeen have had a few, but the Championship teams on the whole have had nobody in the grounds for a year, and it's tough for the clubs, but I think it's tougher for the fans.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I'm definitely looking forward to spending more time with my dad, and going back to that kind of routine of looking forward to the fixtures and plotting out what away games we're going to do, because I've been going with him since I was 4 years old, and we've gone to I'd say over 50, coming up to 60 away grounds in the Football League. It's been a lot of my life. Sometimes he took me out of school to go to playoff semi-final games, because no one had a clue who the fuck Huddersfield was when I was growing up. No one would be able to tell where the fixture list was, going, Huddersfield are playing Lincoln tonight. I wonder where Freddie is. But no one seemed to put 2 and 2 together. I could just make up a lie.
No, I can't see how. I don't know the ins and outs of the figures and stuff, but I can't see how football clubs are going to cope with paying full-time wages, or upper part-time wages like a both and Allo and things like that, without any financial backing. Because even the fans and stuff who buy season tickets, a lot of them will be kind of skint because they might have lost their job, or they'll lose hours at work, they'll be on furlough, which isn't their full wage. They can't afford to back the club. Yeah, I'll be surprised if the leagues go ahead without fans next season.
I just think it's gonna be a strange feeling to go back, because I was at the Dundee game, which was the last game we played. We were meant to play Queen of the South. We were the first team to get their game called off, because we were meant to play Queen of the South on the Friday, and the game was called off. So I was at the last game we played, and I'm damn sure I'm going to be at the first one we play. I don't care where it is. I don't care where it is. I'll be there.
Spill the pellets. I mean, I get a lot of jip from my missus from the fact that when I proposed to her, I never cried. But it's one of those things that I probably know. I think I won't cry, but I think I'll have a tear at least in my eyes, because it will just be. It's as you said earlier. It's just wee things that you take for granted. It's the smell of the pies, someone smoking in the toilets. It's it's just wee tiny things that you miss. It's being able to turn to your pals and just say, "Oh, that new number 9's rubbish." It's those wee tiny things that you miss.
I think it'll be quite surreal, to be honest. I mean, you get so used to being there every couple of weeks, to then go without it for over a year. It'll be a bit of a surprise. I think it'll take maybe a game or two to get used to, but it'll certainly be something that we'll look forward to. And even, as you're saying, even just the pints and things before it, it's just that getting out with your pals and going to the game. It's definitely something that you miss, and hopefully when we get back, it'll settle in just as good as it was before all this pandemic.
It's that connection you feel as well, isn't it? Like, not so much to the club, but maybe people that you've, like, people like your mates that you go with, like if you go with your dad's pal, whatever, like you get that connection back as well, don't you? Because you don't get that if you're just within the same four walls all the time.
Yeah, I mean, we'll still speak to these folk now, but I think since that Partick Thistle game last March was our last game at home, I think I've only seen about half of the folk I'd usually beat games with. And that was only once when you were allowed to travel a few months back there. So other than that, you miss seeing folk and you're speaking to them online or on the phone or whatever, but it's not the same.
Not at all. I mean, I'd even go to a St Mirren game if you asked me to. Do you know what I mean? Just to get to the football, just, do you know what I mean? Just even something like that, because it's the crowd noise, the atmosphere. Even though if you've got 500 fans there, you still get an atmosphere. The sound when the goal goes in, all those things I think are going to be so much more appreciated, not by just fans but by the players, because I just find football dead on its feet. I don't watch English football now. I really can't watch. I like to watch it when the fans were in, but I struggle to watch it when there's no, just because, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a lower league fan, so you get all the kind of ins and outs and the shouts and all that. That's what just been missed so much. So I think it'll be appreciated again by the players more, that they'll have people in to give them dogs abuse again.
Say so, I would definitely say so. It's just a shame for the fact that they've still got a lot of life in them, especially to give to a club, and right now they're not getting to give it to Clyde at all. Aye, exactly, aye.
Do you know something? It'll be amazing. It'll be a relief. I actually think, and I know this is a real stretch, right? But it's almost as if, see, with COVID, and people are equating pubs opening to normality. I think finally, when I'm able to walk in, and it'll be pouring with rain, as it always is at Carmelo, but walk in, pouring with rain, to be able to stand under there and to be able, the first time to be able to shout at a linesman or a referee, that's the thing, and that's the thing that you build up our back.
Aye, possibly, but I play football myself, so like, I think just trying to get back into that as well is going to be so like a lot, but like you just don't see how privileged you are to be out playing then when it's all gets taken away and all that, you know. So like, I think going and playing like as well, I think with the lower league teams and all that, you can see how much it like impacts them as well. Some of them believe they might not even be starting back up again after it because of you know, even though they all get that like 1,000 fans in a week, that 1,000 fans still keeps them going, you know, for that month, you know. So it just shows you that the fans have like that big impact in teams as well.
Fans can't describe that, can they?
You know what? I actually think it'll be a lot more than a couple of hundred, because, and I think it'll be the same for any football match. You're likely to see a kind of wee bounce back for the clubs, because I think you're going to see a lot of people flocking to games, no matter what level of football, because just that whole new sensation of getting back to the football will be like they've never been before, sort of thing, and it should hopefully benefit the clubs right across the land, from whether it's Kerry, Thistle, anybody at junior level, right through the leagues, all the way up to the top. I think you're really going to see people flocking to the games.
And you know, it's, yeah, just as I touched on, kind of working abroad as well, it's a sacrifice that you make, kind of not seeing your pals and going away and obviously not getting to the stadium and things. It's a sacrifice you make for whatever reason. But for guys that have stayed locally all the time, there's guys that have been going, there's guys that have went to Capello every week for 60 years. And when I think, if someone my age is struggling with it this badly, how on earth are those guys feeling? You know, especially in kind of delve into slightly more political aspects. You know, the pandemic seems to have hit working class areas really, really hard, you know, really severely. And with Greenock being the sort of place that it is, the football club and in particular the stadium really do play a massive part in boosting people's spirits, giving people social interaction, and just little things that we probably took for granted for a long, long time.
We will be back, won't we? Like, in short, we will be back.
Oh, aye. It's, yeah, you'd like to think it's a matter of time now. Obviously, the vaccination programmes have proven successful, and yeah, there's definitely far more cause for optimism in the last maybe 3 months or so. Obviously, during the festive period, the Scottish Government grants got announced to help clubs survive, and obviously the next step, you know, if we can get a good rollout of the vaccination programme, if we can make that successful, get people in a state where not only is it safe for people to attend football matches, but people feel safe doing so. Because I think they're both equally as important to each other.